good parking spots by how much shade it is, not how close to the building it is.
Yeah, you'll be willing to walk farther if it's in
Yeah.
the shade.
Oh yeah. And I've gotten good at by the time I moved, I gotten good at like, okay, if I park here now, by the time
There's
I
the
have to
sun
walk
here.
out this building, the sun will be here, so this will be the better spot.
Tell this thing to
Any more rum raisin ice cream?
I'm not going to be the one.
Go.
Because I gotta try it now.
And he's leaving. He's leaving.
You can't help it. Every time it's like a. Yes, I'm so close
So close. She still hasn't ordered it though.
tomorrow, and then I thought, you're not going to get to me.
Oh, hope Zach's coming.
Yeah, I leave town on Saturday, so I got.
Either that or we'll have to carry on without him.
Let me see what on the floor has a brake light on it over there.
There's a lot of cables and stuff over there. I don't.
Who's the guest? Ahmed?
I can't read that from here.
Ahmed.
I can't read that from here.
I don't know who it is.
Almond?
Ahmed. What's up?
Oh, that's, okay.
Cool. Is it Ahmed?
Ahmed.
Okay.
I went for my glasses, and then I left my glasses.
Yeah, you need
I
those.
should probably get glasses, but
You just want
They don't
to
help
see
from
on
here.
TV, huh? See when light.
Reading glasses don't
We
help.
have any of Zach's
Yeah, I would
writing
imagine
today or
so.
no?
I thought he was going to be here
Remember
today. It was supposed to be in July.
Next is it?
But he doesn't, maybe he's stuck in
Thank
traffic.
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
That
because
crazy-
that Plymouth
that
Center
crazy
is
Plymouth traffic.
be a bear. Actually, there's nothing coming down Highland, so.
You made it all the way down the hill without stopping?
I did, I just, I didn't even press my brake at all. Right through the river.
Saw you coming, huh?
Now that only happens in the winter time. Look out the front window and they're just sliding down.
Someone want to text Zach, see if he's going to be here?
Well, it's 4:59, so at this point, we'll just assume he's going to be late.
Start with that, right?
We'll start and he'll come in and we'll
Sorry.
You're fine.
Picking you.
It wasn't my
Hard
bad
time
luck, so.
and
we'll cope.
Let me try to
we can do this.
Yeah.
We got this. Oh, and
Oh, it gets better.
so 5:30 isn't realistic.
6.
Ooh, that's realistic.
Push for it. See how quick you can get these guys behind us talking, right?
Okay.
That's right.
You heard her, guys. Make it quick.
It
That is
is
the one that holds us.
5 o'clock. Call the meeting to order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Someone want to make some motions?
I will make a motion to approve the June 8th regular meeting minutes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll follow that with a motion to approve the June 8th non-public meeting minutes.
All those in favor?
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve the June 15th public meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved. And one more.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 15th non-public meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We'll move on to announcements. The Select Board will meet on the following dates at 5 p.m. Monday, July 13th, 2026. Monday, July 27th, 2026. Town offices will be closed on Friday, July 3rd, in observance of Independence Day. Citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify Town Hall before 12 noon on the Thursday before the scheduled meetings. All meetings will be held upstairs in Town Hall and will be held by Zoom. Zoom information can be found on the town's website at plymouthnh.gov. Chairman has no comments.
Should we make announcements about the town manager?
Right there on the green slip.
Oh,
Please, sorry, I had it in.
Yeah, it was the last minute.
okay. Let's see, we would like to announce the forums for the town manager applicants will be on 7/14 and 7/16 at 5 p.m. over at Pease Public Library in the downstairs room, correct?
Are we going to be posting information about the candidates ahead of time?
No.
When is the reading of the Declaration of Independence?
That's on the 8th.
July 8th
July 8th, thank you.
at 6 p.m.
Before the concert.
All right.
And Rotary will be scooping ice cream.
Rum raisin, right?
I don't think we're-
Dealer's choice, actually. I'll let you know.
we should be so lucky.
Town managers report.
All right, so this week is my week. For department updates, we have some personnel from the highway department attending installation maintenance of culverts workshop at UNH. The highways focus on roadside mowing, brush cutting, of course, cold patching, some potholes. Really focusing on the catch basin cleaning. We've had a lot of rain, so they've been clogging up, as you can imagine. And then they're just going to work on cleaning the shop. Next week, though, they're going to be prepping the trucks for our paving project that our lovely highway supervisors taking on. So that's going to take some prepping for those trucks to be able to move that material and keep it warm for transport. Fire has been an interesting couple weeks. All the positions have been filled, all vacancies, so we're sitting really good. They're expected to start July 6th. It's going to be a couple weeks of training, so you're going to see our equipment and apparatus all around the community doing training with a lot of new faces, so that's very exciting. Pleased to announce that our personnel responded to no fatalities from Bike Week. It was busy. We only had a handful of accidents involving Bike Week, or motorcycles, if you will, but that's always good to hear. Department's been very busy the last 2 weeks. They responded to 90 emergency calls, one to include a plane crash, 2 water rescues, building fire, 70 medicals, and 26 fire operations. Just generic fire department responses. So it's a unique mix in there, but it's the reality. We've all knew that we're getting busier, and some good evidence right there. Police, we're getting closer with the data safety update project with Suzor. Some equipment was ordered, and it's looking like we're making progress with that. They're working through a process with 2 candidates to hopefully fill those 2 vacancies we have. And then their cost of service is continuing to stay steady. I mean, we're in our busy season in the community. Tourist season's always a busy season, so. Parks had nothing to report. Plan development, Joseph is reporting that the planning board has continued to work with the town's consultant, Barrett Planning Group, to develop a housing chapter for Plymouth's master plan. The planning board will be reviewing a draft of the housing chapter with Barrett staff at their work session meeting on July 2nd, which takes place here at Town Hall at 6:30. The project is funded by a Housing Opportunities Planning 2.0 grant from the state of New Hampshire, and we're still waiting on the report from the charrette. He's hoping to have that in the next few weeks. So, airport had nothing to report. I know Colin's been busy working with the FAA, MTSB, and a bunch of other letter agencies with our plane incident. And a big shout out to and forgive me, I forget his name, but the gentleman that leases the hangar from the town of Plymouth, Lynch, is it? Mr. Lynch allowed us to store the crashed airplane in his hangar. He voluntarily came up to us, said he can store it there because we were trying to figure out how to secure it for the next few days, and we were able to secure it there and be done with it. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
big shout out to him, and thank you for his efforts and assisting us in emergency services with this investigation. Jesse's been busy at the fire department working on several plumbing and electrical issues. We've had some outlet failures and some other stuff, so he's been working to get that, as well as the securing the quotes and having giving plumbers tours for our new furnace up there. And he's been dealing a lot with their energy renovations for town hall, getting that ready and to go. PSU, I've been attending the new student orientations at PSU. We've had 2 sessions so far, and we got 3 more to go, where I go in and welcome the community, explain that, this is a small community, we want respect, we give respect, we're excited to have you here, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been going over well. In Silver Hall, free parking is open to the community. We're waiting for the signs to be put up. They should be put up any day, but they're also paving the parking lot, so I'd give it a few more days for them to finish paving. And then I have posted the 2-week schedule for Bernice, and we're coming up on the last phase of it, so it's exciting news. Hopefully in July we can throw some pavement, they can throw some pavement, and the road will be back to somewhat normal. That's all I got for you.
Are they planning to pave the areas that were disturbed on Reservoir as well?
Steve? Yes.
Thank you.
Real quick, we don't have video in the room.
No.
I'd have to go to settings. I'll continue nonetheless.
Is everybody into it?
Dan.
There's no video on Zoom is what they're saying.
Yeah, the Zoom can't see us.
We- Okay, all right. Okay.
Oh.
Just want to make sense.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Just this screen then.
All right, so we have an appointment for Cecilia Ray for the Conservation Commission. I will read that in. Let's see. So we have a letter of endorsement from the Conservation Commission. It says, Dear Ann, please forward Cecilia Ray's letter of request to the Select Board for inclusion at the agenda at their next meeting. The Plymouth Conservation has voted to unanimously approve Cecilia joining the Conservation Commission as an alternative member. And I'll read the message from Cecilia in. Hello there. It was a pleasure attending the PCC meeting earlier this week and learning more about what you do for the town. Attaches my letter of request to the Select Board to join the PCC. If I appreciate any feedback. Thank you. And then there was a long-ish letter. I'll read that. Dear Office of the Select Board, my name is Cecilia Ray, and I write to you in hopes that you will consider my request for appointment to the Plymouth Conservation Commission as an alternate member. My husband and I have moved to Plymouth in 2008, drawn to the area first by family and second by Plymouth's proximity to the mountains. Growing up in Southern California, I didn't have easy access to forested woodlands, bogs, waterfalls, mountains, and wildlife. It's been like a second childhood living here. When we started a family, we wanted our children to cherish the woods and the mountains as we have. A few years ago, I learned about Pemmy Baker Trails and have enjoyed helping with their trail projects. Plymouth has so much to offer its residents in terms of outdoor recreation and conservation. At a time when real estate prices have skyrocketed, a balance between development and conservation comes vital to ensure that outdoor spaces are preserved for recreation and wildlife, and careful consideration is given to the expansion of residential and commercial districts to lighten the tax burden on private landowners and businesses. I would be honored to be part of the conservation effort while keeping in mind development can be done in a responsible manner with minimal impact to our forested lands. Thank you for all that you do and for the town for your consideration. Respectfully, Cecilia Ray.
I'll make a motion to appoint Cecilia Ray as alternative member to the Plymouth Conservation Commission.
Any,
She's a perfect member.
I agree.
perfect. All those in agreement?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None? All right. Appoint Cecilia to the Conservation Commission.
Do you have a copy for us to sign in?
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it? Sorry.
Lest we forget.
And up next is new purchase orders and grants. One for the Highway Department, precision application spray foam installation. I'm assuming that Steve will want to talk about that.
Yes, so a couple of years ago, I reached out to a spray foam industry to come in here and spray our garage because we're so much heat loss, I guess I can see outside. And Jesse came on board and I asked him to take care of it, and he gave us 3 quotes. And I guess there's uncertainty possibly with Phil about some fire retardant in it.
Yeah, there's a quote that I quickly looked over. So I emailed Jesse this afternoon after looking over the quotes, and the quote that had been recommended by Precision
Yes.
did not include intumescent paint, where several of the other quotes did. We're probably not required to stick to code in a town building, but I think the life safety concerns warrant the extra cost in my mind. It's so intumescent paint is it's a thin coating that goes on, but if it's exposed to heat, it foams up and it creates a temporary thermal barrier. I mean, if there's a persistent flame, it's going to eventually catch on fire, but it gives you time to get out. It is required in residences. I think, I don't know how much.
I'm assuming it's, I can't speak specifically to code without researching it, but if it's required in business application or commercial, then it's going to be required because these guys are in a gray area. Municipal falls between business and commercial application, depending on the use.
I think technically we don't have to observe code.
No, we
in
don't.
The same way that
but
the state doesn't have to observe zoning in town. But I think from the perspective of safety,
it is not a sprinkled building, so.
Right, it's not sprinkled, and if somebody's grinding or generating sparks, the foam is. Some of the foams have a small amount of fire retardant in them.
That being said, the price really isn't that far off from.
Right.
What about welding in the building?
Yeah, I mean, welding generates sparks as well. I mean, honestly, intumescent paint is really, it's a cheap solution, but it's not the best solution. The best, it's better to have it covered by 5/8 drywall, but that's a big lift in a building like that.
That's a large price, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
we're
know.
talking $450 difference. So
Yeah.
it'd be my recommendation that we modify this to 46.5
With quality.
with quality out of Meredith, yes. And, something's better than nothing, especially for your application down there.
Is it possible that because were they all bidding on the same thing, do you know?
Yeah, I believe so.
They were.
Yep.
But this company, this spray foam insulation, didn't recommend it?
When they sent a revised quote with the cost of intumescent paint in there, I think the paint is like another $13,000. Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, it said on one of the other quotes, it has it at $6,200.
Right.
But even with that other quote, having 6,200, if we just added the 6,200 to the one that we wanted to award with, it would still be the cheapest.
I would ask we go back and look at the entire bid, and
Yeah,
I would,
that's not
so,
fair.
so, there is a revised quote from Precision Applications that does have a line item for intumescent paint, it's at 13,500, and so the total cost with that, I think Jesse had recommended going with quality. My question is, have we consulted with the co-op about what rebates are available? I think it,
So we got audited. We haven't heard back yet.
okay, my recommendation is can we wait until we hear back from the co-op on if they're gonna provide an incentive on this, because it's, oftentimes they won't incentivize it unless it's pre-approved. I'd rather wait until we got confirmation from them one way or another.
do we know that from the co-op? Or do we have to do the work first?
No, you pre-approve, pre-approval
They
is
will,
required.
okay.
I think, I'm fairly certain they can deny incentives if you do the work first and then apply for it later.
So hold off for New Hampshire Electric Co-op and also get a competitive bid of the same work to be done from
It's-
everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
We've got the competitive bid.
I think we have comparable bids from Quality, Newell and Crathern, and Precision with the same scope of work now, and Jesse had recommended, you were on that email this afternoon,
I was, but spray foam insulation is the one that he's recommending.
I think he changed that in the text of that email that he sent this afternoon.
That's not what he asked them for. He did not ask for a complete competitive bid for this project. Everybody bidding on the same thing, so I think that it needs to go back out.
I'm okay with that. And I would also like to, I'd recommend that we also consult with the co-op and make sure that, because they may actually need us to provide with some energy saving calculations on that.
Stay warm down there for now.
I'm in generally, I'm in general in support of this, but I think it might be premature to approve it tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Don't go anywhere, Steve. You're the next one as well. So the next one up is for the Highway Department as well. Pike Industries asphalt paving for Highland Street, 60K.
Yeah, so I was asked to give a quote on how much they would pave, the cost to pave that. And I came up with 800 tons to be safe.
So this is for, and Ann, help me out with this. This is for the extension on Highland Street that goes up to Broadway to Reservoir.
Reservoir. We originally thought that we would be underway with our Highland Street project. So there was no funding requested from Plymouth Village Water and Sewer because we thought we were going to be in the middle of the road. Now we have found that we aren't starting that project as quickly as we thought. So they didn't put any funding in for that pavement. And we have asked them to assist us, and they have declined.
Plymouth Village Water and Sewer has declined? Okay.
And we are working with legal counsel right now to figure out who's responsible. But in the meantime, we need to get that road put back together when everybody else is there.
So if I recall, was it HEB that's working on the engineering for that? And they had been, the last time we heard from them, they had presented the realignment plan for the intersection of Fairgrounds, Reservoir, sorry, not Fairgrounds, Highland
and
Reservoir and Old Ward Bridge, and we had discussed that, and I think our consensus there
We will-
changed their timeline.
Yeah, well, we wanted to go back and
Yeah.
pursue the roundabout option. Continue to try with the roundabout option.
Eminent domain was
And-
another option that
Yes.
was discussed.
So if all is to go on track, potentially, we're looking at 2 to 3 years out. So in the meantime, to get that road usable, we're just gonna get enough pavement to shim it. which is similar to what Fairgrounds Road was done like 5-6 years ago. It's absolutely drivable, corrected it, but it's not a full, complete pavement job. It's just to make it so you're not feeling every single bump.
But regarding Plymouth Village Water and Sewer, this is not the only road that we're working with them on. So that's another whole topic at some other point that we should probably discuss.
So their scope of work includes repaving other areas that are currently disturbed?
Yep.
Just not the section from Highland to?
Correct, because that was HEB, that was part of our.
Because we were planning on having a grant to do that.
So this is coming from Highland Street, from where to where?
From Broadway all the way up to the high school.
Okay.
To
Old Wood Road.
It's the section that got repaved
A few times now.
8 years ago? Something like that?
Yeah, there's only an inch of asphalt through that whole area.
Yeah, I know it was not meant to be a long-term fix because we were anticipating this grant that we're currently working on, right?
Right.
All right.
So this will be a short-term fix
Correct.
again?
Okay.
Any idea from legal when we'll get feedback from them?
We're working, we've,
2 weeks.
weeks. Yep. So maybe by the next meeting, we'll have something?
Do we hold off then, or?
I mean, we could approve it, and that way, once we get word from legal, we can move forward with it if it doesn't go the way that we want.
Either way, we need to fix it. We may have to, it's a long-term agreement that we need to have with Plymouth Village Water and Sewer. It's not a short-term.
Right.
That road needs to be passable and ready to go, since they're already gonna be here.
So this is a material, a
Correct.
material purchase only, and are you planning to do this while you have the
Rented
equipment
equipment,
rental? And when are you planning to take delivery of that rental equipment?
July 7th.
So if we don't do this now, potentially, you don't get this done during that period of time. Do we know that Bernice is gonna be done and out of there?
I reached out to him this morning, he should be done.
Should,
I mean, we'll have it for a month.
We have
Yeah.
other locations that they're planning on working on as well. This was basically our latest identifying major issue for the town, and these issues with the water sewer is going to be long past July 7th, I suspect.
So they're planning on paving reservoir, the disturbed areas of reservoir from
From the water tank down.
down, and then they'll do from Broadway all the way down to Main Street and all the disturbed areas there already. So there's just a void in the middle of where we had, okay.
And this is our big concern is preparation for this winter. We're not going to be able to maintain that well. We're going to destroy equipment, so.
Motion?
We're ready for it.
I'll make a motion to award Pike Industries $60,000 for the purchase of 800 tons of asphalt for the paving of Highland Street.
Second?
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. All right. New old business. Let's see, we have first up a community development block grant application discussed regarding Plymouth Apartments on Morgan Drive.
Hello, members of the board.
Oh.
My name is Brian Webster from Elm Grove Companies and E.G. Con. Brief description about the property. It is Plymouth Apartments. It is a 66-unit multifamily property on 2 different parcels, 27 and 49 Morgan Drive. It's comprised of 11 two-story buildings, and there's a mix of 21 bedroom and 46 two-bedroom townhouse units. Our proposed project involves both exterior and interior renovations. The exterior is limited to repaving the driveway and parking areas, as well as installing a new community patio with charcoal grills around them. And then the bulk of the project, though, is on the interior, where we plan to renovate every unit. Generally, that includes paint, new flooring, lighting upgrades, new kitchen cabinets, countertop, and new appliances. A little bit about Elm Grove. We're a full-service multifamily real estate firm located in Hooksett, New Hampshire. It was founded in 2011. We own, manage, and maintain a bulk of the properties. We do have third-party management, but a bulk of our business is owning and maintaining our own. We have 2,300 units throughout New England, as well as New York. And the bulk of the portfolio, though, is here in New Hampshire, spread between Manchester, Concord, Rochester, and Hooksett. We've had a history of working with CDFA, which is the Community Development Finance Authority, as well as New Hampshire Housing, where we've completed a few CDBG grants. Those are inclusive of Salem and Newport, and we're also currently applying in Hooksett. So a little bit, or I guess a brief sentence about CDFA, where it helps to drive community economic development across New Hampshire through grants and loans, and specifically the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, is established for towns to reinvest in their communities at no cost to the town. So the grant requires a third-party administrator to limit the burden on the towns, and in this case, it's Lakes Region Planning Commission. Benefits of the CDBG grant include maintaining existing structures and properties, while you also increase property value, and that increases tax revenue. The town gains familiarity with the process for future town projects. I believe Plymouth has done the block grant in years past, although it may have been a while. So if that's the case, this would help refamiliarize the process. We've also been told that there is a audit that will trigger if this goes through. And Elm Grove is willing to pay their portion of the audit. So again, that would limit any financial burden on the town. So the workforce housing structure, after we refinance, the entire property will be converted to workforce housing. Where currently there is a small percentage of market rate units on the property. It's going to be a mix of 20 to 80% of the median income. And the way I view the grant process, there's three phases. The first one is the application period, which is what we're in now. And as I mentioned, we're working with Lakes Region for this process. And of course, the town of Plymouth has a long-standing relationship with the Lakes Region. And I've been told that one such project you're working on together is the brownstone assessment. In this case, the municipality is the applicant, so even though a lot of the paperwork is being completed and a lot of information that's needed is being submitted through Elm Grove, the actual applicant is the town of Plymouth. There needs to be 2 public hearings, one before the application is finalized and approved, and during the project itself. Funds are issued by means of a $0 interest forgivable loan. The critical time period for this application process is the July 13th meeting. It's the public hearing meeting where there are 3 things that are needed. There needs to be a vote to approve applying for the grant. There needs to be an approval of the adoption of a housing and community development plan. That's a CDFA template that's been issued. And then an additional template, which is the third requirement, is the approval of an adoption of a residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan. Phase 2 would be the administrative phase, or once we're underway with the renovation process. When the loan is issued, we're asking for $750,000, which is the max amount. $30,000 of that is withheld by the town in order to hire Lakes Region. And that $30,000 is the max amount that any party can charge for the administrative phase. So again, there's no financial burden on the town. And then Lakes Region would be handling the administrative burden. So again, there's nothing with the town for a lift. So although they're the managing party, Elm Grove is still the one responsible to be providing most of this documentation. And a lot of that has to do with Davis-Bacon wages, where any sub we hire has to meet those requirements and thus fill out the paperwork, which we fill out or make sure it's filled out and then provide to Lakes Region, New Hampshire Housing. And then the last phase would be once the project is complete, and then there's compliance paperwork, which again, Elm Grove handles. We have a team that handles just this part of a project or loan. I think I'll leave it there. And if there's any questions, myself or my colleague will be happy to answer.
So these are the properties currently owned indicated under Plymouth Partners on Morgan Drive?
To be honest, I'm not sure of the current owner.
He said 27 and 49 Morgan Drive.
Morgan Drive, those are the two parcels in question.
They're identified as Plymouth Apartments.
It's on that little loop.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
There's a bunch of single-family homes in there too.
Yeah, in the
There's
circle there is.
two parcels in there that have multifamily. Okay. And you mentioned that there's aimed at workforce housing, but you also indicated that there's an income limit of 20% to 80% of the area median income?
Yeah, and the main driver of that is we intend to keep every current tenant of that property.
My understanding is that's a significantly reduced amount of, isn't that a lesser amount of income than what's allowed by the state for workforce? I mean, it seems like the state has a broader definition of income for workforce housing, do they not?
I don't think I can answer that, but I think Aaron may be able to.
Hello, my name is Aaron Ravenel. So what Brian was explaining is we're going to be doing what's called income averaging on this property.
Okay.
So the target is that all of the tenants will be at, you can either do it with income averaging or you can meet 60% of the average median income of the area.
Okay.
If you do income averaging, you still have to, the average of those tenants all need to meet 60% of the average median income. So if you've got some at 80% of AMI, they're going to be offset by some in the 20, 30, and 40% AMI, which allows you to get a broader cross section of people in there. For example, over the last few years, one of the groups that have been hit really hard are ones on fixed income, Social Security, and rents have been going up, but their checks haven't been going anywhere. Okay. So this kind of allows us to have some spots in there for those sorts of individuals as well.
Okay, thank you. I think I figured out the source of my confusion. The workforce housing law does say that affordability for workforce housing is 60% of AMI for rental, but it's 100% for properties that are owned. That's what I was curious. I was confusing the 100% AMI for. So, but these are all going to be rentals long term.
Yes, they are.
All right, thank you.
We're not going to displace the current tenants in the apartments, or?
The current plan is with that averaging, that we would be able to retain everybody. I think there will be some natural
Yeah, natural
vacancy
movement.
and natural
But-
movement, yes, but yeah.
Doing this, we're not going to have to kick anybody out. at the current
We're not intending to move anyone out, no.
Or during the process of renovation, you won't have to leave your place. while
That's
you-
correct.
Okay.
So our plan with that is two different options. One would be to delay our project once funding is approved. So that way they would give time for any natural vacancy to leave anything open, and then we wouldn't lease anything until we've renovated. And that would buy us time to start the process. The second would be to have a budget item where we have a temp housing line where we can afford to put someone up in a hotel while we're conducting the renovation. So that would be option two. Option one would be the natural vacancy.
How long would they be required in a hotel?
We can usually turn it around within 3 weeks,
So they'd have to be in a hotel for 3 weeks?
So
if
the-
it came to that.
Yeah, I mean, the intention is that we're gonna be renovating somewhere between 8 and 10 units at a time, and it'll be turned over month. So you'll have 1 through 8 renovated month 1, 9 through 16 renovated month 2. So if we close on the property and then 2-3 months down the road, that's when we get the 8 units vacant. We'll just not fill those, and then we'll roll those through the subdivision, through the property, and relocate people. We'll renovate 8 units, 10 units, relocate people to those renovated units, renovate the units that they're in, and work our way through that.
So they would still have to move
Yeah.
in that scenario.
And that's part of the plan that, again, what CDFA is gonna require, there's a relocation plan that has to be put in place, because as part of this project, we're going to be renovating these units, and they wanna make sure that people aren't displaced, or if they are displaced, they're displaced under a plan, as opposed to just, well, we'll figure it out as we go.
Right. So that's one of the documents you'll be putting together?
The displacement, yes.
Okay.
In renovation of these properties, is it like a new set of paint, or are there going to be extensive changes?
No, it's flooring, paint, cabinets. That's likely the biggest one, is cabinets, countertops. Otherwise, it's a facelift.
And
Appliances too?
Yep, appliances are included. in
is there any exterior change, or is it all interior?
The only exterior so far would be the repavement. It's in poor shape currently, so we need to repave everything. And then we're talking about putting in a community patio.
So this is a $750,000 grant, and 30% goes to Lakes Region Planning. and-
30,000.
Oh, 30,000, okay, all right, 30,000.
30%.
Well,
would be
actually,
big.
30.
Yeah, 30,000 is huge, I was gonna ask.
30,000 actually stays with the town of Plymouth.
To pay Lakes
To
Region.
pay
to
Lakes
administer.
Region for that. And again, that 30,000 is the maximum amount in which any party can charge for the administrative phase. So the town of Plymouth would always have those funds in order to pay a third party.
And is the town of Plymouth encumbered as a responsible party for the loan if there were to be any default on this?
So the loan is.
If the town is the recipient of the grant and it's a loan, is there potential liability for us if something happens and construction costs exceed the grant amount?
So the construction costs will exceed the grant amount.
Okay.
Right now, the anticipated construction cost for this renovation project is $3 million, which Elm Grove is rolling into the financing with New Hampshire Housing Finance.
Okay.
And the answer is no, the town of Plymouth wouldn't have any liability there.
So you don't own the property currently?
We do
correctly?
not. We're in the process of purchasing it from the current owner.
When will that close?
Well, the first time I was told it was supposed to close, it was August of last year.
It's been a while.
The existing loan is a challenge. It it was complicated with there was a government shutdown, and during the government shutdown, the expedited turnover process expired. So then they had to reinstate that, which took until May of this year. So everything's back in line now. We're moving through that process. It's just, it's a federal loan. It's a federal guarantee. There's a lot of different moving parts there, and it's just taking some time. But right now, the anticipated purchase is going to be sometime in, I think November or December is what we've been told.
Can you apply for this not being the owner?
The
Is that allowed?
The town is
Right.
the town is the
So-
applicant.
Right, but we're applying for it for a company that doesn't own the property is my concern. We just want
So-
to make sure that you can do that.
Yeah, yes, we can.
All right.
Yeah. So even on, so we've done this actually on 2 other properties where we applied for this. And as part of this process, the grant actually has to go to the costs of purchasing the property. So the grant money will come in after we've actually purchased it, but it backdates to pay off the purchase of the property, not for the actual construction process.
Thank you.
There is also a deadline of July 27th
Yes.
for
The submission.
the submission.
We have a public hearing coming up, or hopefully scheduled, right, for
July 13th.
July 13th.
And the way that works is if we miss this July 27th timeframe, we would get kicked to the next round, which I believe is in 2027,
February.
February. So that is something that unfortunately would not meet our funding structure.
Do we need our legal to look at any documents? Okay, you're comfortable.
Just want to make sure, on your project narrative here, on the town of Plymouth responsibilities of the grant application, the third sentence says, during the application process, the town of Hooksett will be responsible for a few required tasks. Is that I assume that's a typo, correct?
It
It is
is.
a typo.
Just want to make sure.
We are currently applying at the same time with Hooksett, so
Copy paste and forgot to
That's
control
right.
F.
That's right.
Okay, just want to make sure, thank you.
Can you remind me, can you go through your list of how many units are there and how many 1 and 2 family, like?
yeah, there's a total of 66 units.
Okay.
And
It says listed, I think.
21
there are
bedroom,
21
26
bedrooms and 46 two-bedrooms.
I think it's
Second or third page in.
20 and 36, and 46.
46.
Are the residents aware of this, or?
Yes, we've had a meeting with them, indicated what the plans were, and that they asked a host of very good questions. We responded, and they seem to respond well. Always good to know what's going to happen before it happens.
Right, exactly.
So the request of the board is just a consensus. Can we move forward with the application and public hearing on July 13th?
I would say
Any
yes.
concerns? Okay,
Seems like it makes sense.
we're off.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is Abby Kendall presenting Grant Management and Centralization Initiative.
Where would you like me? Dan suggested I sit there. Should I?
Yes, you can sit at the table.
So as you recall, Abby was hired recently to go through each department and consider possibility of grants and what are the needs, wants, desires of each department. So she took all of that information over couple months, Abby, and
The mic,
streamlined it,
bring it closer.
and provided this report to the board. So we asked her to come in to explain the report, and she has put together some information for the board.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. I am from Holderness, so I'm from next door, but I'm really excited to be able to contribute to some work in Plymouth. This is about, as Ann mentioned, I conducted a gap analysis of grants management in Plymouth over a couple of months. What I want to first start by saying is that Plymouth is not unique in terms of its challenges when it comes to grant management. What is unique is centralization. And by centralization, I mean having a dedicated grant person or grant department in a municipality to manage many aspects of the grant process. So anything from research to writing to reporting, and all the messy middle in between. So over 4 weeks, I interviewed all of the department heads. 11 were supportive of moving towards centralization. And then the last person, the department just didn't have an opinion either way. They don't need grants. So I wouldn't say they were unsupportive. Let's see. All right, so from my interviews, I found that there currently is, there's $928,000 in grants being actively managed. The largest one is, of course, the SAFER grant, the FEMA SAFER grant for $774,000. You all also have a large public safety complex building in the works in the next few years, and there's no dedicated grants person. That their one responsibility is grants in Plymouth right now. Some of the challenges include missed collaboration opportunities. So, for example, planning was in need of some traffic data, and police, they see those grants all the time, but they didn't know that that was something that was needed. And so had there been a mechanism in place to collaborate and just communicate about those opportunities, that grant could have been applied for, and we would have had traffic data. There's also compliance risk. I'm sure your department manages the FEMA grant beautifully, but there's always a risk if there's not, a more formalized compliance process that a grants manager could assist with. There's also a funding crisis with the television station. There are grants out there that could help fill that funding gap. And then knowledge risk. So currently the departments are all kind of managing grants either on, or not grants, but all of their documentation on paper or thumb drives, individual servers, individual computers, things like that. And so there's a lot of risk that comes with that. Throughout these interviews, there were 4 big themes. Capacity gaps. So folks just on top of doing their normal everyday work as a department head, asking them to do grants on top of that is a lot. And so almost everyone said, I just don't have the capacity to write, and let alone research grant opportunities. There's also no standard application. There's no standardized reporting procedures. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing when it comes to tracking spreadsheets, thumb drives, et cetera. And then, as I mentioned, the collaboration gaps that are that exist just from not having a person or a structure to help kind of find that collaboration. And then the technology gaps. So there's no grant management platform, no cloud sharing platform available that folks can share and collaborate on. So just a quick department snapshot. The television station has a funding gap. There is may or may not be a need for compliance reviews or just assistance when it comes to ensuring all the T's are dotted and I's are crossed with the FEMA grant. The police department and the public safety complex has this big need coming up for the building and all the equipment that goes with that. In the nearer term, the library mentioned that their HVAC system is going to need some updating. They have damaged solar panels. Planning, Joseph is doing a wonderful job managing his grants, but reporting is sometimes a pain and could use some assistance. The highway department is doing a wonderful job at finding grants. But one of the issues that they come up against is sometimes finding a match for the grants that are out there. So that would be something to look at. And then the town clerk mentioned they have a need for some vital records management, and there are grants out there that could help with that. And then in the longer term, recycling mentioned some capital needs, including a new baler. The recreation department has a need for their own transportation, so vans, so that they're not renting from outside vendors. The airport would like some help just finding more grants. Facilities is doing a wonderful job. I know that Jesse just found or has been implementing a new software tool for tracking his projects and vendors and things like that. I think that could really lend itself well to expanding grants for facilities. And then parks has no current need. Currently. You always find something for them.
There's certainly opportunity for parks to do more than we're currently doing.
So as part of
Not to
my...
be critical of them, but
Yeah,
I'm
of
just
course.
saying,
Yes.
If we had grant funding, we could do good things with that too.
Yeah. As part of my analysis, I reached out to 3 municipalities, different in size, but the lessons are certainly scalable for Plymouth. So Chattanooga, I spoke with Chattanooga, Tennessee, St. Paul, Minnesota, and Belleville, Illinois. Some of the big themes from the 3 of these municipalities, Chattanooga they have 3,000 employees, so not everyone needs help with grant writing. It's just not also possible for their department of 5, but they are really leaned on for compliance support when it comes to grants. And then St. Paul, they did when they were moving towards centralization, they implemented a portfolio inventory. So during the federal funding freeze, they knew exactly what they had, and they could reach out to their advocates to do some work on their behalf. And then Belleville, Illinois, is still in the implementation phase. They lost 7 years, not of grant records, but of all of their records, because one of their buildings was operating on its own individual server. The server was damaged, and they lost 7 years of data that they had to recreate. And so when I asked him, what's something that I should take back to Plymouth? And he said, you need to have cloud storage or some sort of backup. So some lessons from these municipalities that Plymouth could apply now. Again, moving to the cloud or some sort of file sharing service, Microsoft 365, Google Workspace. St. Paul ran for years on Google Drive, so moving to like a grant management software right away is not super important, but having something that, or not just grant management software, but SharePoint or something like that, you could work on Google for a little bit. Compliance, like I said, Chattanooga, that was a big part of what the services that they provide for the city, doing a lot of compliance assistance, audit prep, monitoring, reporting, things like that. And then the grant manager, grant professional, whoever, comes in, should also be constantly, working with the department heads and training them on compliance, deadlines, reporting, etc. research, because everyone's going to be needing something different from the grant manager. So let's see. So there are 8 recommendations. First one is hire a contract grant writer. Doesn't have to be on staff, doesn't have to be full-time, but someone who is immediately available to start implementing some of these other recommendations, which include mapping out the grant portfolio and where everything is, adopting a grant policy. This includes operating procedures, but also both Chattanooga and St. Paul found it really helpful to sort of codify the responsibilities of the grant manager, so that it was clear what the chain of command was, or the procedures, how much, what the threshold was for grant approval amounts. I'm not sure if that exists in Plymouth already. And then change management steps. This is a huge shift in how the town would be doing things. So relationships are really key, and being responsive to what the department heads need rather than having a top-down, prescribed plan, so that it's meeting people's needs. And then protecting the FEMA grant, again, just tightening up or formalizing compliance. There are some quick wins that the town could see. So transportation for recreation, finding some money for vans for the town, and then funding for the television station, and then the library capital projects. The 7th recommendation would be to update the technology, so moving into the cloud, whatever system that might be, and doing some RFIs to try to get some pricing and figure out what makes sense for everybody, and then ideally having a grant management software system in place in January or whenever it makes sense for you all. And then the last recommendation, all 3 of the municipalities that I spoke with really spoke very highly of either the National Grants Management Association or the Grant Professionals Association. These are both membership organizations that are found across the country. They are vital in terms of providing support for, like, uniform guidance is changing maybe, and so they already have resources out there to help grant managers understand what those changes might mean, and so having the grant person or people part of those networks would be really important as well. So the first step would be hiring a contract grant manager, part-time. They would report to the town manager. They would do that portfolio inventory, the FEMA compliance, and drafting up the policies and standard operating procedures, and then helping to kind of build the case for a permanent hire in FY 27-28, so that this person could become permanent. And it would be a grant manager, not a grant writer, because the grant manager would be more responsible for more than just writing, right? Like researching, reporting, supporting departments, project managing, etc. And they would be working across all of the departments. And then the 3 immediate opportunities that I mentioned. So transportation funding, like I said, they're relying on a rental company right now for their transportation, which means that they have to schedule their events. Or recreation has to schedule their events around availability of these vans. And if they had their own vans, they could expand their programming, make it more responsive to what they need, and then hopefully share it with other departments. Operational funding, again, for the television station, and then library capital grants, so the HVAC and the damaged solar panels. So I am not privy, obviously, to budget constraints or other things going on. This is a totally, this is a recommendation, take it as you will. This is an implementation map over the next 12 months, divided into quarters. So first quarter would be engaging the contract manager, doing that inventory, the compliance review, cloud document platform setup, and then drafting that grant policy. In the second quarter, issuing an RFI for grant management software, submit some grant applications, develop some SOPs specifically for fire planning and the town clerk, have an interdepartmental meeting with department heads, and then issue an RFP for software. Phase 3, third quarter, select and implement the software, submit some more applications, develop a highway matching fund strategy. I think actually that should probably be for everybody, not just highway. Create a grant template library so that it's you're not reinventing the wheel every time you're writing a grant. Prepare the permanent hire proposal. And then in the last quarter, deploy the software for the grant management software, to prepare the report for grants to the select board. You all move the contract person into a permanent hire, and then centralize. Ideally, this centralized system would be fully operational. One thing that the municipal grant managers talked to me about was, I asked them, okay, what's the dollar amount that you've been able to secure when it comes to, like, how has this benefited your cities? And all of them were pretty hesitant to give me a number. They didn't really have one, but they did say that there are less tangible benefits. So, for example, St. Paul had a housing grant for $1 million. The department or the project, for whatever reason, fell through. And when they got the grants department involved, the grants department was able to reallocate, like help figure out how to reallocate that money so that they didn't lose it. And that would not have been something that they could have done before without the assistance of the grants manager. Also, the compliance piece, having solid compliance systems and becoming a really trusted federal partner, grantee, it has a lot of benefits. And if you are receiving federal funding and you're managing it well, it's lessening the burden on the taxpayers. Your municipal bond rating might be going up. So there are all these other benefits to grant centralization that might not just be related to money. However, that's also nice. And then this is my last slide. This is a ballpark investment budget for the first year, starting in July, so next month. Low estimate would be $51,000. High estimate would be $71,000. This includes the cost of the grant manager, plus grant management software, a document platform for all departments, membership to the professional associations that I mentioned, grant discovery tools. I think that covers it. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are we moving to 365 with our IT implements?
Yeah, we do have that. I just don't know who currently has an account in that. Is it all the department heads, or just select?
Yes. All the departments do.
So we have the ability to do that document sharing today.
We do.
Are we currently leveraging it?
Right.
There's a learning curve there.
And I think that's a discussion that we've had several
yep.
times.
With the new town manager, potentially, that's something that the board could direct. This is something that you want them to maybe put as a priority somewhere.
I think it should be a priority.
but
Yeah, I don't want to lose
for
7
your
years.
consideration.
Document management aside, I'm supportive of this concept. I think that the potential, we have, having a CIP allows a grants manager to kind of have a long-term view of our funding needs. There might not be that much funding available currently, but, funding goes in cycles with, other factors. But, it would be good, in my mind, it would be good to get somebody on board
Yep.
to help manage the grants we have and document compliance, in addition to preparing for, potential changes where more funding might become available in the future.
Is it fair to, to simplify, but is it fair to say that they would actually pay for themselves?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
By bringing
Yeah, my view of this would be that the position would generate significantly more revenue for the town than
Right,
we
then,
would be paying for that.
right,
That's
exactly.
the whole point of.
Seems almost
Yeah.
a given.
It's a good
Right, it
investment.
seems a given.
And there's also the possibility that we could leverage it possibly as part of some of our centralization efforts regionally with other departments and other towns may be willing to kick in for a resource like this.
Yeah.
I think in reality,
Or are they competing?
the ask of having department heads be responsible for identifying and applying for grants on their own is a big ask, where
Right.
if they're supporting a grants manager who's,
Part of their job is to help with that at the very least.
it becomes a lot more manageable.
And that grant manager would be a grant writer as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I just wanted to, I know you had them separated out.
But they'd have the skills to help guide. They may not have the expertise that maybe the highway department has, but they can take what the highway department says and help them put it into the proposals.
Exactly.
And the priorities would be set by the board, not necessarily by the departments.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have any towns of Plymouth size that compare and have a centralized grant management?
I wasn't able to talk to anybody, but I know I tried to reach out to somebody in Kentucky who is new to the role, but it was a similar sized town. But I know they're out there. They're just not. It's
Not advertising.
Well, they might still be in the messy middle, and they're not ready to share.
Will those organizations that you've recommended have
Mhm.
more information around that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, I really like the idea of the town becoming a member to those
Right.
organizations, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
It's, it's like the job posting is for New Hampshire Municipal Association, like it's so specific, like it seems like it would have high value to the town, regardless of the cost. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming in and
Yeah.
presenting this.
Yeah,
This
that's
is-
great.
This is excellent information.
Yeah,
Good.
I think we should put it on our agenda for discussion in the future,
yeah.
consideration.
Town manager,
Yeah,
list
yeah,
of,
yeah.
long list of
Yes.
everything being a priority.
Oh, Phil, you're not talking to a mic.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. All right. Moving on, review new policy being implemented by supervisors of the checklist.
So this policy came from the town clerk's office, and it was for the supervisors of the checklist. There is no implementation or approval that has to be done by the select board, but we did want you to see that there is a new policy that they have created as supervisors of the checklist, and it is attached there for you.
Is this a reaction to any event or
It was
something that?
I think it was a recommendation
To have
by
one?
the state.
Gotcha, thank you.
Should I read it in? All right, so the policy is voter registration policy in relationship to outside special interest groups. The purpose of this policy is to deter any future outside special interest groups from requesting the supervisors of the checklist to attend their events with the intention of registering new voters. The supervisors of the checklist will not accept any special interest groups' requests for participation to register new voters at one of their planned events. The supervisors will maintain their regular registration responsibilities as supervisors of the checklist for the state of New Hampshire without any connection to these outside interest groups. And this was respectfully submitted by Jane Clay, Mary Holleran, and Mary Nelson.
Good, makes sense.
I agree.
Yep, I agree as well. All right. Review and approve encumbrances.
So in front of you, I have put together, after looking at the budget late last week, I know that there are several bills that are coming, and the departments have until July, I think the end of July, to submit bills for the current year. My thought is that we should encumber, and it is required that the board approve an encumbrance list if we're going to have one at the last meeting of the end of the year, and that's who we are. So these numbers are potentially bound to go down as a bill comes through. So what we are looking at is, if you look at your budget that's attached, did everyone get one of those too, hopefully? Okay, so bottom line, which is page 17 of 17, as of the 19th, we had $2,032,000 left in the budget. Of that, some large ticket items really need to be pulled over for the projects that we're working on now. I'm asking for an encumbrance of $1,212,357.46. I anticipate that our budgets will be giving back, just in the budget itself, about $200,000 to go back to the unreserved fund balance. And I've had a chance today to look through revenues. And as we talk about revenues, we also talk about items that are abatements. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a minute. So right now, our revenues are on track. If we didn't have abatements, we would have had more revenues. So no matter what we do when we set our tax rate, if we didn't have abatements, we would have been about $20,000 over. So we were right there. But we do have the abatements, and those have to be followed through, and you'll hear some of them tonight. So I believe that overall, even though some lines look to be over and some are under, we did very well on our revenues and expenses. We are right on throughout the departments. All right. What's that face for?
Question, I think, didn't you say, I'm finding the difference between the our current general fund and our budget, but didn't you say there was anticipated reserve of 200,000?
That's what we anticipate giving back out of the budget.
Okay.
You got to remember, we got another month to go. We've
Yep.
got a large school payment in there that needs
Okay.
to be made this coming week.
Got it.
There's still a lot of bills that are coming in.
But that's not on the encumbrance list because it's may be made by before the end of the
I know
year.
that'll be made
Okay.
like in the next week.
Okay.
This week is actually the last week of the year.
Okay.
So these are my best guess estimates.
Yep.
You know, we've set the budgets, what we think we need to expend. We expend them. If we don't need them, we give them back. 200,000 is a very reasonable.
That's
amount
pretty
given.
tight on this budget.
It's very tight.
Yep.
So I do ask the board to approve the encumbrances as presented up to this $1,212,357.46.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Second, any further discussion? All right, all those that approve?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Why restate a motion when Ann just did such an eloquent job? of
Yeah,
describing it?
thank you.
And as
So
that's,
you couldn't improve, that is fair.
I know.
and as that's coming around, we have our next item, discuss and approve the sale of fire department engine number 4 to Brindley Mountain Fire Apparatus for $20K.
So as you know, we got a new tanker engine that's being received hopefully by the end of the week. It should be any week now.
Any week.
Sound a little less confident
When
on
did
that.
when did we approve the expenditure on this one?
3 years ago. So what's another week, right?
Yeah.
With that, engine 4 will be moving into surplus, our 1998 Freightliner Smeal. Now, generally in years past, the last truck that we had out for bid was engine 2, which sold for $25,000 through sealed bids. People just mailed in sealed bids. With that, though, it was a custom Mac, highly sought after. This truck is a 98 Freightliner with a big tank body. It's a monster of a truck. It's 20 years old in New England weather. We don't anticipate it going for much. If we were to put it out to public auction, for example, right now, Holderness's engine that's surplus is out to bid right now, and I just checked the bid website on Municipid, and it's at $5,300 is the top bidder. Could it go higher? Absolutely. They got like 19 days left, and it probably will because it is a Mac. But with this truck, we don't anticipate a lot, and not only that, we have to store the truck. We certainly don't have location at the fire station. We could put it in the sand pit, which won't help its value at all. So we ran into this company at a Chiefs fire show in a conference, and we got talking with them. We reached out to them when it got time in the last month. We reached out to them and working with them. They're hesitant, but they're willing to offer us $20,000 sight unseen. Take the truck and doing a little research. What they do is they take the truck, they'll fix it up and try to resell it to get their money back and then some. So, and it just takes the liability off us. They come and pick it up and it's gone. We don't sit on it for 90 days or wait for the white farm, which is what it is.
Is that the only other option really, is either put it out for sealed bid or send it to White Farm?
Correct. Yeah, we don't really have the resources to market it and do that. That's what we generally do is it would go to White Farm. We actually tried to trade it in like we did with Engine 2 when we purchased that replacement, and Pierce didn't want it. The dealership didn't want to take this trade. So they said there was no value in it for them. So.
And how long until the Holderness auction closes?
19 days.
I mean, this makes sense. Burning the hand, worth two in the bush. And
It's
Yeah.
20,000. Honestly, I don't anticipate there being a lot of interest in that truck.
Can you change, yeah,
Hello.
yeah, because it seems not
Is this better?
better. Thank you.
Okay. That being said, this is the only place we reach out to, but they're willing to work with us because it's such a gamble with this truck.
I mean, if they're willing to take it sight unseen at this price, I don't see why we should
Given
dance around.
given the potential marginal value of a couple $1,000s, it's probably not worth our time. As
No.
Jason said, having a known bid of $20,000 is probably worth pursuing.
I
We can
agree.
use the revenue.
And
We can use the revenue. That's
Yeah,
the
revenue.
20,000 right there.
That's right.
Right.
Get it in before July 1.
That's right.
And we'll try our best. So if it's the will of the board, I'll contact the deputy tomorrow and have him, sign this agreement.
All right, I'll make a motion to pursue selling the surplus fire engine to Brindley Mountain Fire Apparatus for the stated contract price.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Before we move on to signature file, Craig Williams, who's the new CEO from Spear Memorial Hospital, is here for a little meet and greet. If you guys are willing to let him bypass the public comments. Craig, come on up to the mic.
Kevin, thanks for recognizing me. Hopefully you guys don't mind me stalking the meeting. I did want to come. I saw you had your meeting today. I did want to come and say hello. My name is Craig Williams. I'm the new Chief Executive Officer at Spear Memorial Hospital. I've actually been watching this job for the last 5 or 6 years. I have a house in Meredith. I got the annual report of Spear back in 2018 or 19, I think. And I sort of checked out their leadership team, thought maybe their president would retire at some point. And when I heard that Michelle McEwen was retiring in November, I was very eager to get involved in the search. And really for me, it's an opportunity to lead a hospital that serves the community that I live in. And that's just incredibly important to me. So my goal as the new CEO at Spear is really to do what we can to create a better relationship with the community, ensure that we're reflecting the needs of the community and the services that we provide, but really look to grow Spear and really increase the access to specialists we have in this community. So I come to the meeting tonight really just to introduce myself, hope to create a relationship with you all. If it was something of interest, I'd be willing to come back on a regular basis and give you updates about what's happening at the hospital. But if there's anything we can do to help you all get your work done, I'd love to have that discussion.
Where'd you come from before?
Excuse me?
Where were you at before?
So directly, I'm coming for a very similar size, similar type town, Chicago, Illinois. I was the chief operating officer of an organization called Cook County Health, which is the largest safety net hospital in Chicago. But I've been commuting back and forth to Chicago for the last 4 years.
It's a commute.
You know what, to be honest, other than having like a broken pipe at home, it actually isn't that bad of a commute. There's like 10 flights a day. It's a 2-hour flight. But then I maintained an apartment in Chicago, so that was a little complex. But the rest of my career I spent mostly in Boston healthcare, places like Birmingham Women's Hospital, Tufts Medical Center, St. Elizabeth's Medical Center, really in that kind of chief operating officer or president role. So I feel like I'm well equipped to lead Spear. Definitely a different size organization, but I think the breadth of what I've done in the past will really give us a fresh set of eyes. Certainly, Michelle's done an amazing job leading this organization for the last 25 years, but I'm hoping I can come in with a fresh set of eyes and look for new opportunities and really create those relationships.
When did you start, Greg?
I started June 1st, so this is the beginning of my 4th week.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're ready to implement and something new?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of listening and trying to build trust within the organization and really in the community too. I think a lot of people, look at me and think I've worked in really big places and what do I know about working in a critical access hospital. So really doing a lot of listening and understanding and really trying to come up with a kind of a 90-day plan after those first 90 days.
I'd like to thank you for coming to join us here. It was nice to meet you last week at Rotary.
Yes, yeah.
I will say that the outgoing CEO, Michelle, did a bunch of work. There were a couple plans that were approved by the planning board not long before she left. There was a master sign plan that was updated.
Yeah,
there was a small
excited to
site plan.
implement
So,
that.
yeah, I can't think of anything like outstanding between the hospital and the town, but I know Scott, the former town manager, had worked with the staff to make sure that the sign plan got updated and all that stuff. So I think everything's in good shape for now.
That's great to hear.
The extent of my knowledge.
And I think it'd be a great thing for you to come back on occasion and report what on some of your major initiatives are, because this is just another opportunity for people to hear what's going on that don't necessarily get involved.
I'd appreciate that. Kevin has all my contact information, so certainly whenever folks would like me to come back, and like I said, if you all need anything, I'm happy to have that discussion. So,
Well, thank you very much.
Awesome.
thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Craig. Nice seeing
Thanks
you
for
again.
waiting.
See you too.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for waiting.
Super interesting. You guys have a lot going on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, and you're going to deluge us with a
All
pile
right,
of
we're
papers.
gonna
How many-
push right through this.
How many trees did we kill today?
You, So what I have now in front of me is we had auctioned a property on 40 Reservoir Road. The property has gone, and the deed was actually recorded. The property sold for $221,516.78. Of that, $55,050.30 is coming to the town of Plymouth. The remainder, yeah, so we were able to get it back on the tax rolls. The remainder, some of it is, the excess proceeds will go back to the person who owned it before. And excess proceeds right now are about $144,900 that they're getting, that we're sending back to them for that. So, sorry they lost their home. However, you know, this is how it all works. This is how the process works. So what I have in front of me is the auction closing worksheet, stating these numbers, and I am just looking for the board to sign. It says seller, and if you could just sign right across that line, across this line here. All right, the next item I have are abatements. We're still off and running on abatements. First one is for property 94 Oak Ridge Road. Taxpayer filed an application for property tax abatement asserting that the property assessment, notably the land, more than doubled the assessment value. The assessor went out and reviewed. The subject property has historically been assessed with a view amenity. However, during the conversion of Patriot assessing software to the Avatar assessing software, the data conversion error occurred that reflected in a view amenity value assigned to several properties, including this property. Recommendation is that the value go from $558,700 to $508,900 with an abatement with interest $1,205. Next property is for 63 Marjorie Lane in Plymouth. Taxpayer filed an abatement asserting that the property land condition factor of 230 is disproportionate when compared to similar properties. The taxpayer further contends that the current assessment of $800,900 exceeds the property's fair market value, and it should be between $670 and $705. The assessor went out and reviewed and found that generally a land condition factor begins at 100 and is adjusted upwards or downward to reflect physical characteristics or amenities that affect land values, such as topos, waterfront, influence, scenic views, and other specific sites. Following a physical inspection review of the property on all properties on Marjorie's Lane, the assessor found that no evidence that the subject property possesses any specific characteristics that would justify a land condition factor of 230. The recommendations of the assessor is to reduce the land condition factor from 230 back to 100, taking the value from $800,900 to $614,400, a decrease of $186,000 in value, and an abatement of $4,512.
Good thing we're selling that truck.
Wow.
Yeah, because we're keeping it all back. The next property is 84 Texas Hill Road. Property owner has applied for a tax abatement due to the mobile home inhabitability there condition during the applicable assessment period. Because the structure could not reasonably be repaired for continued use, it was subsequently removed from the property and properly disposed of. Based upon the aforementioned information, I recommend the mobile home be removed from the assessment record, reducing the assessment from $154,500 to $111,700, a difference of $42,800 in value, and an abatement of $1,027. 265 Old Hebron Road. The taxpayer filed an application for property tax abatement asserting that the property assessment, notably the land, increased 97% and is disproportionately assessed. The assessor advised that the subject property has historically been assessed with view amenities. However, during the conversion from the Patriot assessing software to the Avatar software, data conversion error occurred. The subject property was reviewed for inspection and remeasuring on June 2nd. With the property owner, there were other minor discrepancies on the assessment that needed adjustment. The recommendation is to take the assessment from $387,700 to $295,600 and an abatement of $2,228. This property is off Daniel Webster Highway in Plymouth. Property owner has applied for a property tax abatement asserting that the subject property is landlocked and lacks legal access. The owner further contends that the property is located within an environmental sensitive overlay district and is therefore unbuildable. Subject property consists of approximately 3.1 acres and is situated along the Pemmy River. A review of the town's GIS mapping indicates that approximately 1/2 of the parcel is located within the river and associated flood hazard area. The remaining upwood land portion of the property is heavily wooded with mature vegetation. A review of the property deed as well as the deeds of abutting properties did not clearly establish whether the property benefits from a deeded right-of-way provided across a Daniel Webster Highway across neighboring land. As a result, the existence of legal access could not be conclusively verified. Given the property's physical limitations, the extent of the flood hazard area uncertain regarding legal access and its historical assessment treatment, and current assessment does not appear to adequately reflect the property's market characteristics and utility. Based on that, the assessor is recommending that the value go from $57,500 to $7,800. A difference in value of $49,700 and an abatement of $1,203. I'm going to save that one for last. The next one is property at 20 Rocky Point Road. Property owner has applied for an abatement of the 2025 property tax, asserting that the current assessment value of $467,100 exceeds the property's market value. The assessor is noting an interior inspection of the property was unable to be conducted because the assessor was unable to contact the property owner. An interior inspection of the property revealed rotted exterior siding, peeling paint, older roof shingles. Based on the foregoing information, I recommended adjusting the assessment to account for the observed deferred maintenance identified during the inspection. The value would go from $467,100 to $415,500, representing a decrease of $51,600 in value and an abatement of $1,247. 17 Point of View Drive. Taxpayer filed an abatement, property tax abatement, and claiming that the property assessment is disproportionate when compared to other properties in the nearby neighborhoods. The owner stated that these properties are comparable because they are all listed on their assessment record cards as having a view amenity. The subject property has historically been assessed a view. However, during the conversion from the Patriot assessment software, the Avatar software, a data conversion error was found. This view change takes the property assessment from $738,400 to $542,800, an abatement total of $4,732. This is 55 Tenny Mountain Road, Unit H2. The owner has applied for an abatement because she believes physical data is incorrect. She only has 2-bedroom condo and not 3. She also believes the property is overassessed because of neighboring property sold for $265 when compared to her assessment of $289.8. After inspecting the interior of the property with the property owner, that with the exception of the bedroom count, all the building details are correct. After comparing her assessment to neighboring properties, it is consistent. I recommend adjusting the bedroom count reduction to assessed value from $289.8 to $287.2 and granting an abatement in the difference of $2,600 in value, an abatement of $63. 103 Oak Ridge Road. The taxpayer filed an application for abatement asserting that the land portion of the assessment of $277,400 is excessive when compared to appraised value of $264,000. The property owner is only applying for land portion of the assessment per Supreme Court appeal. The burden of the taxpayer is to prove that the aggregate, meaning the entire assessment, is disproportionate. However, it was discovered that during the conversation from the Patriot Assessing software that the Avatar software data conversion problem was found as well. I recommend adjusting the assessment to reflect the proper view amenity value. The current assessment $729,310,000 to $673,551, a $55,759 abatement on value, which is $1,349. This is 43 Tennybrook Road, Unit C5. Property owner has applied for abatement that the current assessed value of $293,100 exceeds the property market value. In support of their appeal, they submitted sales data from comparable condo units within the same development with price range from $210,000 to $280,000. The subject property is currently listed for sale at an asking price of $274,900, sorry. An interior inspection of the property was conducted with the owners on June 3rd. The inspection confirmed that the property's physical characteristics are accurately reflected on the card, with the exception of a small unfinished storage room located off the front foyer. Considering that the condo was constructed in 1987, the unit is in average condition for its age. Based on the foregoing information, I recommend adjustments to the assessment to the account for the minor discrepancies, taking the assessment from $293,100 to $286,800, representing a $6,300 value adjustment and an abatement of $153. Two big ones. All right, the first one is 280 Old Hebron Road. The taxpayer filed an application for property tax abatement citing the following reasons. Physical data on the assessment card was incorrect. 22-year-old metal roof consisting of corrugated panels was exposed to passengers. Portions of the exterior wood trim repair, replacement, and or painting due to rot. Several outbuildings are in need of repair, and water runoff from the driveway is discharged onto the property, causing damage to lavender crops. The assessor went out and reviewed these findings and observed the following. The assessment record card does not accurately reflect the dwelling's gross living area. In addition, the home contains cathedral ceilings that are not identified on the property record. The basement is partially finished, and this feature is not reflected on the assessment record card. The dwelling was constructed around 2003 and is considered to be in average condition for its age, retaining largely original finishings, including kitchen and bathrooms. The predominant interior floor coverings consist of hardwood and carpet. The dwelling contains 4 bedrooms and 3 and 1/2 bathrooms. A large cistern is located in the basement, however, it's currently inoperable. The property contains 24 solar panels that are currently receiving a solar energy exemption. 7 of the solar hot water panels are present but no longer operational. Most outbuildings are considered to be in average condition for their age. However, the detached dome greenhouse and 1 small detached shed are in poor condition. During the review of the land assessment, it was noted that the land condition factor of 300, again, that was a problem with the conversion. It should have been not that high. Generally, a land condition factor runs around 100 and is adjusted upwards or downwards. And that was done. Although the property possesses a distant mountain view, a portion of the land condition adjustment may have reflected the amenity but not inappropriately applied. Therefore, the application of 300 land condition factor results in an overstatement of the value. All of those findings are taking the assessment of this property from $1,063,293 to $819,190, a difference in assessment of $244,103, and an abatement of $5,901. All right, I have I have a very large, this is a settlement agreement with Walmart. Okay, so they applied for this is the 2024 abatement. If the settlement is approved, they have agreed to drop their abatement request for 2025. So the assessment for tax year 2024-2025 shall be $15,750,000 on the property of 683 Tenny Mountain Highway, Plymouth. The municipality shall abate the RSA 7617 interest from the date the taxes were paid to the refund date. All property taxes for the tax year 24-25 shall be no higher than $15,750,000. If this is approved by the select board, the assessment would go from $17,500,000 to $15,750,000, a difference of $750,000 at the tax rate of 2024, bringing the abatement for this with interest to $46,610. And that is being recommended by our assessor, Steve Hamilton. It has been approved by the taxpayer's agent as well. And in order for this to be closed and continued out, we'll need signatures from the select board. So that's all. Usually the board would have to respond to abatements by July 1 is what the law says, or else it's automatically considered a denial. We do have a few abatements that are left out there. Groton Wind is one that actually every year applies for an abatement, so we're waiting for a utility assessor to come through with that one.
Who is that?
Groton Wind.
Okay.
And I
So the
think
settlement
that,
agreement page.
yeah, you can sign that one, yep, just in case. So prior to signing all of these abatements today, the board had approved $44,766 in abatements for abatements that are applied for. Those are not ones that were adjusted in-house, so keep that in mind. So
Oh, with the today's, it's about 100,000? Is that fair?
Sounds about right.
and we actually budgeted, when we put our revenues through, when we set the tax rate, we budgeted 95,400.
Well, that's pretty good.
It is, it is.
Except we have a couple outstanding, but
We do, yep. So we were very close when we set the tax rate. So, all right, so what do I have here? I have a yield tax assessment for two different properties. The first one, $253,039. And sorry, she didn't put these in order for me. Oh, yes. And there's that one. There's two places to sign on that one. The second one is $309.89. I have a report of intent to cut. This is for property on Texas Hill Road, 19.05 acres, and their area of cut, they're saying 15 acres. All right, so last abatement, I believe, for tonight. Right, yep. This is an in-house abatement. Loon Lake Road and 19 Loon Lake Road, Public Service of New Hampshire property. The subject properties were charged the state education portion of the tax rate. As a result, an abatement is warranted. The abatement amount will be $29. That's all I have until we get to non-public.
that's fine. You said 6.
I'm sorry. You let them talk too long. No. Okay.
I'm not gonna sign this one.
You're not.
I'm not gonna sign that one. It's my employer.
Oh, you work, I didn't know you worked for them.
Good call.
There's plenty of people here to sign it without me.
Okay.
Busy, yeah.
That was a good session.
That was quick. A lot of work, a lot of paperwork. Carrie does a good job.
All right. That being said, I think we're ready to go into committee reports. Plymouth Village Water and Sewer, Jason.
They did not have a meeting last month, but there appears to be a disagreement on paving for Broadway Road between Highway Department and Plymouth Village Sewer and Water. So I need to reach out to the district to figure out kind of what's going on behind that. That's it.
That's it. Planning Board, Phil.
Yep, the planning board met last week, June 18th. There were two site plan review hearings. These were both continuations of previous applications. One was for an LP gas storage facility across from Yetton Road on Tenny Mountain Highway. That one requires a special exception. The ZBA had denied the special exception, and the applicant is appealing the decision. So that meeting was continued. There was another application for a property for Stone Bluff Properties on Yetton Road for a contractor storage / commercial services development. They're proposing 2 buildings. One is roughly 18,000 square feet. One is roughly 20,000 square feet, but with phased development. Multiple units of, commercial service, storage type buildings. That one was also requires a special exception and was continued to the next meeting. So the propane storage facility was continued, I believe, to the August meeting, but I think the Stone Bluff was continued to July. There were no other hearings at the time. There was discussion with general communications. There were certainly several abutters that spoke on both hearings, though. That's all.
That's all. Anything for Phil? All right, the school districts, both the elementary school and the high school, are on hiatus until later this summer. Conservation Commission met on the 16th, last week. Basically, highlights from that is they had a trail day the previous Sunday, and they've got tree cookies up on the Glove Hollow Brook Trail, and another trail that I wasn't able to collect.
What are tree cookies?
Oh, what are tree cookies? Basically, they're little round things with the Plymouth Conservation Commission logo to mark the trail path.
Okay.
They're plaques.
Gotcha. Okay.
But they're called trail cookies, just, so you know.
I didn't know that. Well, you learned
Know
something
now.
new.
Welcome to New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's right.
They had a discussion on PLACE, which is Plymouth Land Area Conservation Effort. And that is a subgroup of the Conservation Commission about preserving land for future conservation purposes. Discussion was on the Roby property. They're just currently up for sale, and they were looking for internal support to get an appraisal on said property. So they did have a motion, and they expressed a support to look into the price of getting an appraisal for that property for the purposes of conservation. They did talk about how they will be planning to come to a select board August meeting, and they have a new member recruitment drive, so to speak, and we saw the results of one of those today, that they got a new alternate position approved, and we approved it here. And that's pretty much it. It was a short meeting. Capital improvement, Zach's not here. I'm assuming no one else has anything on that either. Nothing from Lakes Region Planning.
I have nothing.
Parks and Rec.
Nothing new till August.
Energy Commission.
Energy Commission hasn't met since our last meeting.
Advisory Budget, nothing yet?
Not yet, time.
Not till
Not
August?
time yet.
Chamber of Commerce.
I actually missed last week's meeting. Last meeting I missed.
And I assume that nothing from PERLAC either?
No.
Police and Fire Building Committee.
Nothing further.
And last but not least, Economic Development Committee.
We don't meet until the 1st of July, first week.
I would like to amend my comments and acknowledge that the Energy Commission did meet. Sorry.
Exciting meeting.
It was not a, I think there's continued support from the Energy Commission to support the building commission, and, further discussion of existing projects, but nothing remarkable there was a discussion of change of leadership. Ashley needs to step down as chair, and there's going to be no meeting in July. That's all.
That's all. Public comments. I don't see anyone online, and we're seeing no one else in the room, so I'll call that done.
I'll make a motion to go into non-public in accordance with RSA 91-A:3, Section 2, for A, personnel, and B, hiring.
A second?
Okay. Jason, your vote?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Ted? Aye. Mary Ann?
Aye.
We're in non-public as soon as we're off the air.